Hello, hello, and welcome to our latest dev interview with On Point for Gamers. I am CMoney, and I am here with the man himself, the franchise director of the Dying Light franchise. It is Tymon Smektala. Thank you so much for being here, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and doing this interview with us, man. Appreciate you.
That's absolute pleasure, and I can't wait for this to happen. To be honest, I don't know what to expect. So let's get the ball rolling and let's see.
Let's get the ball rolling. Well, number one, I gotta tell you, I'm a huge fan. I was lucky enough to be able to go ahead and I went to Summer Games Fest, and on play days, I got to go hands on with Dying Like the Beast, and it was an amazing walkthrough, amazing experience then, and then just getting it back in, home and in my hands for the review was phenomenal, man. It's such a great game. But let's kind of jump right in for our audience here at On Point for Gamers. Can you give us just like a quick elevator pitch on what makes Dying Light the Beast stand out as a standalone experience for you?
Okay, so first of all, this is the best Dying Light game that we have ever made. We have been working on this series for 10 years, and this is the culmination, the apex of everything that we have done so far. So if you had anything about Dying Light, like were interested at some point, this is the entry point for you because this is the best, like the saturated, the essence of the series. Then on top of that, it has a number of so the basics are you have a great game with first person parkour, super realistic, super immersive, very physical. You get the FPP first person representation of melee combat, very direct, like limbs cut, skulls crushed, all of that done by your hands. You see everything in front of you. You basically feel the blood splatting on your face as you play the game, and day and night cycle. Day and night cycle, which is important because it changes the rules of the game. It's not just the same game, but it's darker. It's a completely different game. Like during the day, you try to survive, but you are in control. You control the zombies. You see the hordes. You can play with them. You are more agile than them. But when the night falls, the freaks come out, the volatiles, our kings of the night, the apex predators. They leave their hives and they keep chasing you all around the map. So it's kind of like a Pac-Man, you could say, but of course in 3D, high quality, high fidelity graphics, AAA level of execution. So that's the kind
Absolutely.
of the elevator pitch for Dying Light. And then on top of that, the Beast adds a one additional big element, which is the Beast mode, the Beast skills of the main character, the main protagonist. And this is a moment where you can actually kind of get rid of some of the pressure, tension, the challenge that game puts on you. You can flip the table, kick shit for like, I don't know, 1 minute, 2 minutes, destroy everything in front of you. But then you get back to your normal self. And then again, you have to survive. You have to kind of look at your resources. You have to be aware where the zombies are, and follow this great story of revenge. But probably we'll talk about that later. So maybe I will cut here.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I can tell you right now, I can attest to when night comes, man, the fear. I don't know what you like. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just a combination of how literally pitch black it can be out there, and then just the sounds. When I hear these things, and then you got that the red little bar that says like chase begins. I'm like, oh my god, I messed up. I'm looking for a safe house immediately. I'm like so anxious doing it. It's crazy. It's you guys nailed it. It is a completely different game. Like you're literally playing two games, daytime, nighttime, very different, but both equally very well done.
Yeah, thank you so
Um,
much. And let me just jump in here quickly. And actually, what you touched upon is actually the I think this is the most important part about Dying, like the immersion, like how the game draws you into the worlds that you're playing, like how strongly it puts you into the shoes of the main character. And we achieve that through a number of means. The graphics, like you said, how dark, but also how kind of real, high fidelity they
yes,
are, how
absolutely.
physical everything feels. Like we really spend a lot of time making sure that if you jump, if you run, if you climb, it feels like it's a person doing this, that it's not just camera, that's hovering over the ground,
Yes.
that's at some height, and it just does those things. That sometimes that happens in FPP games, but we really put a lot of effort into making sure that if you need it, you see your hands, like you see you have to grab a ledge, you have to climb over it. So a lot of that is there. And also when it comes to immersion, you also mentioned that sounds, like, to be honest,
Yes.
sounds are our secret sauce, our kind of secret formula. Like, we play them, and in ambience, quiet, like, don't overdo them. So this kind of gets you into the into the, how do you call it, into the zone.
Yes.
And then when shit hits the fan,
Hits the
that's how we say
fan.
it,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
Then, like, the music ramps up, and then everything starts happening, and then it gets more tense, and then it kind of hits you in your eardrums with, like, everything that's there. So a number of things that we are doing to achieve that effect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the perfect storm where everything just meets and it just works. I mean, we're definitely going to get into the graphics in a second because I'm a huge graphics person. So you guys nailed it for me. But uh, just another thing before we kind of move on from that is obviously the Beast is a standalone, right? And you've had one, two, now the Beast, and I think a lot of people. When it was first announced was kind of assuming that this was part three, but we know that it's a standalone. This is not necessarily part three. Um, how do you feel like the game itself weaves itself into the overarching, Dying Light story?
So we didn't want to name it Dying Light 3 because actually we didn't want to scare people that didn't kind of get into the series before. Like, when you see a game and it
Mm,
says blah 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 3, you think, okay, maybe I should have played the previous ones. Like, I don't
mm,
know, like, this leaves a lot of people on the fence. So the number is not there mostly for that reason. But to be honest, this is the next Dying Light. Like, even though when we started the project, it was kind of the idea was, hey, let's make something in between. But actually, it grew a lot. It exploded over the last months before the release. Like, we really kept adding and adding and adding, and it's like a very sizable game right now. And it fits the universe. It's like, in terms, it was very important for us to make sure that it kind of fits the universe lore wise, time wise. So basically, it takes place after the events of Dying Light 1 and Dying Light 2. It refers to some events from those previous games. So in that way, it's also kind of like the continuation of the world of the universe.
mm.
Of course, we have also spent some time to make sure that even if you didn't play the previous ones, you can kind of get into it easily and understand what those people are talking about, what those characters, who those characters are. So don't worry, like, it's a game that's actually quite easy to get in. And but also, what we wanted to do, we wanted kind of to use the Beast as a game that leaves an, I would say, exclamation mark, like a huge milestone, because this year we have 10th anniversary of the series. So you wanted to have
Mm.
something that, in a way, at the same time closes those 10 years, but also opens us up for the next 10 years. How we did that? Dying Light: The Beast brings back the character from the first game and plays with, kind of answers some of the lingering questions that you might have after playing the first one. It also
Yes.
refers to, like, it has some, I would say, tentacles here and there in Dying Light 2. So it kind of closes this part of the universe. It gives definite answers to the fate to the of some characters, to the flow of some events. It basically says, okay, so this is where we end. Like, the first 10 years, this is the epilogue of that. But then, as you finish the game, there's also like a slight little window opening that tells you, but there is more. And, like, if you
Yep.
can, like, and this is something we want to follow. So this is basically like the celebration of 10 years of Dying Light history. We really wanted to make Dying Light: The Beast almost like the best of those 10 years. Like, we took, like, all of the best, a lot of the coolness of Dying Light comes from the little details, like the balance details, how strong the reactions are when you hit zombies, how high you jump, how long it takes you to climb an object. Like, you might not analyze it too much, but when you play it, you feel it. So
Yes.
we have took all of the details, all of this little and the big solutions, all of the little and the big systems that have worked over those 10 years, and basically build a foundation, like, build up a platform with them for Dying Light: The Beast, and we will develop that platform moving forward. And future games in the series will definitely use everything that we have right now, because we think we have a very, very strong foundation moving forward.
100%. And I mean, like you said, it's been 10 years, right? So I think it's genius to see the fact that if you did go ahead and just try to jump into a part three, a decade going by, there's a lot of people who are now into gaming who just wouldn't even know what this franchise really was, right? So, yeah, I think honestly playing it and going through it, if you experience this game, you get exactly what you're saying, because it does feel like the culmination of 10 years of experience in Dying Light and just really amping everything up, which was, I mean, it's fantastic. I agree 100%. And my son is he's 18, and he is definitely one of those kids who like if you would have put a 3 on this, he would have been like, well,
Uh,
I got to
yep,
go play part 1 or part 2, right?
yep,
Where
yep.
this really allows it to kind of live on its own, which is fantastic.
Thank you. But actually,
Uh,
there's a nice little story regarding this, because is it okay that I kind of jump in with some extra comments, or
yeah,
okay?
absolutely, absolutely. Go on.
So there's so it's actually a nice little story or insight from the history. Like when we were celebrating 10 years this January, we created like this very nice kind of ad memoriam movie, which was bringing back some characters. Like there was this nostalgic music, like a very nice piece of video that kind of summarized the story of Dying Light.
Yep.
We put that on YouTube, and I was going through the comments, and I was blown away by how many people have written that. Yeah, I remember the first Dying Light. I played it when I was 13 years old. Yes, I remember I was sneaking out from school with my cousin. We were 14 years
Wow.
old. We played Dying Light 1. So even
That's
though
wild.
those guys
That's
shouldn't be
wild.
playing the game, actually there's
They
something that
were.
really get they were, and that gets them
Yes.
at that early age. So that's why I wanted to bring this up, because you mentioned your son, who's 18 years old, and probably he could play the game right now and enjoy it. The bad thing is I cannot make my son, who's 15 years old right now, to play Dying Light. I don't know, like, but
Really?
you know how it is. Like everything that your parents are doing at this age is basically like it's shit. You just don't want to touch it at all. It's like
Yeah, it's not
disgusting to
cool.
you
It's
if
not
you
cool
it's
because
not
dad
cool
does
at
it.
all.
So
Yes.
it's not.
But like my dreams are that at some point, like he will actually appreciate and see the game for what it is, because I think is this is
When
really a cool.
once he's a parent, it'll be easy for him. Once he
Yes,
sees it, he'll be like,
yes,
you know what?
yes, 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 yes.
That's when it'll make more sense to him. Nah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yes, yes, yes. That's
that's a
true.
great story because it is true. Let me ask you, during the development, what would you say, like when you guys were just saying, okay, we're gonna go ahead and make this? What was the biggest like aha moment, like that moment where that you figured out that this was the direction you guys were gonna go with the beast?
I think there was one moment. There were maybe two of those aha moments. The first one was both were connected with the main protagonist, Kyle Crane, and definitely this is like the one of the most resonating elements of Dying Light: The Beast. Especially if you have heard anything about Dying Light before, then you know Kyle Crane, the protagonist from the first game. Like he grew to become a legend for the community. Like he's a really special character in
Agreed.
the universe, and like the biggest aha moments were connected with this. So the first one was when we decided to do the game with Kyle Crane, but of course we said, but it will not work if we won't get the voice of Kyle Crane, Roger Craig Smith, the voice
Yep.
actor who voices Kyle, on kind of with us on board. And if he would say no, then I don't know, maybe we would reconsider. So the first aha moment was when we actually called him, and after some hesitation, also looking at his schedule, which is very, very busy, he said, you know what, guys, I actually am into it. And he was into it because he really liked the very unique actors challenge, where we asked an actor who's a great actor by himself, but to return to a role that he played 10 years ago. So as an actor,
Mm.
he grew a lot over those years, right? So
Yep.
he's a better actor, but also the character has changed over those years, because that Kyle Crane in Dying Light: The Beast is not really the Kyle Crane from the first game. So this was a very unique, as I said, actors challenge, actors opportunity to use the kind of the growth in his skill set, in his expertise, in his profession, and express it in the character that has also grown over the years. For me, it's like, Al Pacino in Godfather films, right? Right. So like
Yep.
when he was playing the first one, he was just this young Michael Corleone that didn't really know how to act in this world. And then in the second one, he was playing, Al Pacino was also older, and he was playing a character that's already has grown and that has changed. He also did this for Godfather 3. So for me, it's basically this kind of challenge. But I think the biggest aha moment was when we actually recorded Roger Craig Smith, so like the voice of Kyle Crane,
Hmm.
and we uploaded his voice to the build that we were playing every day as developers. Before that, it was like, some computer generated just placeholder voice, so we could kind of get the timing, the length of dialogues, etc. This is how
Hmm.
what you usually do. You basically put those like very robotic voices there to kind of get the length, get the pacing, get the feel, let's say, but you kind of want them that robotic, so everyone understands this is temporary. And then you upload the voices that you got from the recording sessions. And I remember the day when we did that. It happened overnight, and then I came back to work the next day, and I was watching people kind of booting the game and playing the game, and they started like testing the little things, like, for example, I don't know, the AI coders, they were looking at some enemy behaviors, or level designers were checking something on the level. And I saw their faces when they first heard the voice, the actual voice recorded, and like there were so many emotions on their faces, and especially for the guys, and we had a
That's
lot of
awesome.
them that have worked on Dying Light 1 as well. So for them, you could basically see them kind of freezing in time and going back in time to what happened, to what we were doing 10 years ago. It
Nice.
was really a magical moment. So something really, really nice, and something that also shows the strength of the voice and the strength of audio in video games, I would say.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's funny because you guys are also 10 years on, right? From when
Yep.
you first
Yes.
introduced it. So, what would you say, like, based off this experience, how would you kind of compare it, or how do you feel about it versus, now versus when you guys first, kind of stopped doing the other franchise you guys were doing, which is Dead Island, right? And you guys went ahead and boom, Dying Light. This is you're starting it brand new. Like, how was that feeling, kind of going from when you first started and all the feelings and anxiety and stuff that you had to do to make something brand new, to kind of putting a almost like a cap on, like, that 10 years and of all that experience, like then versus now, how do you think that feels for you?
Oh, that's a very hard question, I would say. So first of all, I think we are much more mature, kind of course, seasoned developers, much more than we were before. But that actually comes with it has its pros and cons. Like it's almost like
Mhm.
as the like how do you call it, like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because you get you think you get smarter, you think you get more professional, you think you get more
Yep.
mature, you think you kind of get a better grasp of what you're doing, of your craft. uh, but this also blocks you in a way, because you kind of, okay, so okay, this can work, this cannot work, like you kind of play the game already in your head before even doing things.
Mm.
And back then, like, we were batshit crazy. Like, we were just, like, hey, I have this idea. Okay, let's do it. And then the whole team was jumping and doing it. Um, and I think it's generally, I think this is something that's actually I don't want to say a problem, but that's something that the especially the big studios will have to solve somehow, because
Mm.
the video games industry is super competitive right now. Really, it's very, very easy to make a misstep that will tank your whole studio. Like, you really need to make sure that whatever, like, you only do smart decisions. And the challenge is higher and higher the bigger your studio is. Like, how the bigger the number of people that you are responsible for is.
Yep.
And this kind of kills your kills your it makes you more risk averse. It makes you less, less adventurous. It leaves you less space for exploration, for trying new ideas. If you are a AAA big studio and you have a hit, then basically the best thing you could do, or at least on the surface level, is just do another part of this hit. Just basically the same game, just change world characters, maybe not characters, but basically change content, but do the same thing, because this feels like the least amount of risk. At the same time, it's actually very risky because players don't really want to get the same stuff over and over and over
Yep.
again.
100%.
So I think there's a moment where like this maturity, that everything, all of your experiences can also freeze you a little, can kind of stop you in trying new things. So I think this is where the real sophistication, and this is where the real growth comes in, when you kind of start being aware of this, and actually allow yourself to smartly, like without losing too many resources, but still experiment here and there and try to do something new. Back then, to be honest, I wasn't thinking about the business side at all. I wasn't like, we weren't thinking about even how. Right now you think about, okay, so we're making this game, how will this be received, like what can we do to make the reception better. Back then, like, we were just working on a game, like
Yeah.
try to make the most fun games that we would love to play. But definitely, the real world considerations were kind of at the
Hmm.
level. Generally, like, if you look at the metaphor, it's basically a metaphor of growth in general, also for human beings. Like, when you're a kid, you just do whatever you want, and you don't really care, right? Because there's like a parent will save you, whatever. But there's a point where you have to start being a little bit more responsible for what you do, and maybe this kind of stops you a little from trying new things, etc., etc. So there's this constant balance that you have to tiptoe over, to make sure that you keep the creativity, because as I said, also, if you just keep repeating yourself, you will quickly stop succeeding in video games, because players really want like new experiences over and over all the time.
Let me ask you something, and if you don't want to go into it, that's fine too. But just you said something here that um, I think I've seen with some other studios that kind of like it flipped for them when they got acquired, right? So like we're a huge Xbox channel here, and studios like Double Fine and Ninja Theory, a lot of the conversation that was happening when they were first purchased was like, now we can turn off the business side and focus only on the game side. um but then on the flip side, you have like a lot of conversation about like consolidation and too many people getting acquired. But like, and I'm not asking you to say I want to get acquired or don't want to get acquired, anything like that. But just like the idea of, you know, like, how do you think that ultimately affects you if you were in a situation where you didn't have to think about the business side anymore, and it was back to kind of like how would the game maybe have been different, or how would that have affected you think, if you weren't having to focus on the business side and you were only thinking about gaming, like the game side again?
That's an even harder question, to be honest. But like, on the real, I think that Dying Light the Beast, it would, like, whatever the business context will be, I don't think it will be much different, because this is exactly the game that we wanted to make. This is like, we
Nice.
took all lessons from Dying Light One, all lessons from Dying Light Two. Of course, lessons are good and bad, so we took everything, like everything that we have learned. Like, we got a lot of stuff that was praised and is still praised by players, but we also did some decisions which maybe weren't as successful, and we actually heard some quite harsh criticism from our community. We took all of those learnings and we put them into Dying Light the Beast. This is really like the passion project for us, and actually being able to work on a game with the protagonist from a game from 10 years ago, and kind of feeling like we are bringing him back, and also, and in a way, getting back to the same spirit. It really allowed us to be very passionate, much more passionate probably than like, actually we were working on Dying Light the business with this mentality of let's take the business off of this, like just try to make the
Nice.
game that we would love to make. But then, to be honest, I don't think there are like it's super harsh what I was saying. This is super harsh reality, but I don't think there's a way for anyone to think about games with the business of hat on their heads, because like even if you're a small developer, like you do it for a passion. Of course, you have an idea, you have this urge in you that you want to make this great
Yeah.
game, but it still takes time, it takes money, you have to kind of put some bread on your table, you have to have some electricity in your house, and everyone faces those economical considerations, and this is really a hard thing to balance, how to make sure that okay, they are there, but you kind of keep them controlled. Those real life considerations, just trying to express what you want to express through a game. A tough challenge, and I think this is something that touches small studios, big studios. Probably big studios in a harsher way because, as I said, the responsibility is bigger, the budgets are bigger. Like what you have to pay each month to employees is it's much higher, and the success is actually not even like the guarantee of success is not even bigger compared to indie studios or smaller studios. So, but yeah, this is like however we want to sugarcoat it. Uh, this is a business. This is an economy. This is a way for people to make money and make a living, and you have to think
Yep.
about it all the time. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's something that's very real in this industry right now. Specifically, there's a lot of stuff
yeah.
going on with that. So,
Mhm.
100% understand. And kudos to you guys because you can tell from experiencing the game that even though you had to keep those considerations in mind, you did go ahead and essentially overall kind of get where you wanted to go with the game, right? And you didn't let that hinder the game because, again, we even said in our review, right? It is in fact the best, Dying Light experience that you can have. So 100% agreed there. Let me ask you this. Obviously, you guys finished the game. Obviously, when you finish the game, you look back at everything you did in the game. What would you say from this particular game of developing this game? What is one key lesson that you will 100% that you learned doing this game that you will take forward with you in future Techland games?
I would say it's focused on the details. Like I have already kind
Mhm.
of referred to that, but like it's crazy how detailed, how precise the look of the community is. We have one of the best communities that was with
Awesome.
us through kind of ups and downs. But those guys are demanding. Let me tell you, like those guys are looking at things that they basically constantly remind us about how intricate the whole kind of essence of Dying Light is and how important it is to nail all of the details.
Mm.
Like one example I have in my head, I'm not even sure if this is the most detailed thing that we looked at. But for example, like we are bringing back Kyle Crane, of course, the character from the first game. We have created this whole model of him, kind of found a way how to make him this new version of Kyle Crane, so more seasoned, more mature, maybe not too old because we were trying, with like how do we call it, like that body Kyle Crane or kind of receding hairline Kyle Crane, but it didn't
Yep,
really
yep,
work. So he's still
yep,
heroic, but you can see he's like older,
yep, yep.
and we were showing quite a lot of the game before the release, like some preview events. We also send a demo to influencers, and you see the character in the inventory of the game, so you basically see the whole model. And
Mhm.
after one of those showings, we read a lot of details. But hey, what happened to the scar? Where's the scar? And we said, but what scar? And what basically the community made us realize, like for some reason we just didn't think about it, probably better than us, but in the last scene of Dying Light 1, Kyle Crane gets stabbed in his arm, let's say. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously there should be a scar after this, right? But we didn't have
Yep.
that scar. And we said, but hey, where's the scar? And there was like Reddit threads saying, hey, but there should be a scar. Techland should have a scar there. Why didn't we put the scar there? Of course, the
Oh,
scar is there in the final version of the game, thanks to the community. But really, this is just like
that's wild.
a tip of the iceberg example of the details that our players are looking for. And this is really like when you
That's
hit a zombie,
crazy.
like how high his hands is raised when he flies back with his hip. Like really, lots of details
Wow.
that kind of make the experience feel like this is the Dying Light experience. And actually, I'm saying this is a lesson from Dying Light: The Beast. Um, but to be honest, it's actually a lesson from Dying Light 2 because we missed a lot of those details in Dying Light 2. We had to kind
Mm.
of read them or add them to, or add like various things that kind of brings back those details for Dying Light 2. So this was a learning from Dying Light 2, but what Dying Light The Beast did is we focused on those details right now, and the reception of the game validated that this is super important, crucial to make Dying Light Dying Light.
100%. Yeah, and I mean, listen, the one thing that this, solidifies is that your community is there and they are watching everything because they just can't get enough of it, right?
Yep, yep,
So
that's true.
I, I could definitely see that. Now, let me ask you, Kyle Crane, right? He came back. Okay.
Yep.
Now, you know, you guys you guys moved away from him in part two. You bring him back for the Beast. Now that could be almost. It could almost be like a crutch, right? Like you could just try to be leaning on like the nostalgia of him, but I don't feel like you guys did that. I feel like you guys really, you know, used him the right way in the context of the world and everything that you added was really good for us. But what was the difficulty for you guys, bringing back a character and balancing like that nostalgia with at the same time, adding like new twists and new arcs to the story?
So the whole process was the biggest challenge. That actually for me, I would say this was the most scary part of the whole experience because
Mhm.
like if you are a Dying Light fan, then Kyle Crane is like the is his royalty. He's basically like this almost untouchable figure that has a legend. Has a basically that man is a legend, a myth. Something that you cannot really mess with. And
Yep.
when I say that, I also mean that he has this place in memories of the most dedicated fans, those 13, 14 years old that I
Hmm.
mentioned. Like they kind of, this is almost like a father figure, like like a masculine
Yep. Yep.
figure, like some kind of a reference point for them. And then there's always a chance when you bring back someone like that, you can miss just one line, like
Yep.
voice
Out of
acting
character or
can
whatever.
can
Yep.
feel out of character, and it can destroy the memory for those people, and you don't really want to mess with people's memories. Like this is one of the precious things that we have on this planet. So I would say up till the moment when the game was released, like of course we did some playtest, we invited the community to our offices to to play the game. They were involved in the production of the game, in the process of kind of tweaking and making sure everything is where it should be. But still, even though we kind of felt quite secured up till the moment of the release, we weren't sure if this will land as well as we expected to land. Will we represent Kyle Crane well enough as expected after those 10 years? So maybe it's a little bit intangible. Maybe that's something that's kind of hard to grasp, to explain. But this was definitely the scariest part of the whole project, because the rest was, just dev work, like solving technical problems, solving design problems, solving balance problems. Like this is something that we felt we are in control. But Kyle Crane and how he will feel for people and how he will be received by people, like this is something that happens in their heads and we have zero control over that. So that was definitely the biggest challenge. Are we making the right thing? Are we making the right choices? Will he feel okay? Like, will
Man.
won't we make even one mistake that can make the character out of character? So that was the toughest part for me.
Well, it's funny because again, if you did get hands on the game, you do like what you're saying. The fact that you guys thought about this so much, play like it makes sense because I feel like it's like like it just was perfect in that sense. I feel like he is who he is. I think you guys went through the right method here to make sure that he just stayed on brand, right? Like he is Kyle
Yes.
Crane, and he didn't pick over the 10 years. He didn't pick up some weird changes that make you all of a sudden see him as somebody different, right? He's still who he is, and
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
And also, that was hard also because so much time has passed. Like when you work on a more traditional series and you have a game out every 2 3 3 years, then the team is basically just doing the same game. Like, I'm simplifying this, of course, but basically doing the same game over the whole period, right? So you kind of
Yeah.
are in the flow, you are in the zone, you understand this character very well. And for us, there was a huge gap. So definitely that was challenging.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. All right, I do want to get into some more of the tech talk because
Okay.
God,
So just a
freaking.
little heads up, I'm the worst person to talk about
All right,
tech
that's
stuff.
okay, but it's the overview. I don't know. Whatever you can answer,
Okay, we'll
we'll go
see.
through.
Okay,
But
let's go.
um, all right. So for me, as soon as I got hands on at Summer Games Fest, right, and like it's just a beautiful, everything is beautiful, right? And again, over here I'm a huge graphics person, right? Like that for me is like the exciting part of the industry, right? Is to see how much further we're going to keep going. So to see the game in real time, like it's stunning, right? And in a world right now where I feel like there are some games that are really pushing, and then there's a lot of games that I feel like are still playing it really safe and kind of just like giving us last gen with a bump versus really pushing forward. I feel like you guys are pushing forward. I guess my question is, why was pushing the graphical boundaries such a core pillar for the project, right? Like, it, why did you guys feel like you needed to go forward as opposed to just giving us Dying Light 2 with a little bump?
Yep. So thankfully, that's the tech question I can answer because it's not really that much tech. It's more like of a design philosophy, let's say, creative philosophy. I actually hinted at that at the beginning. We as a techland, as a company, we have a very simple, very clear mission, very clear idea of what kinds of games we want to do, and those are first person perspective open world games where the level of immersion into this world is basically taken to the maximum. So of course,
Mm.
like, so immersion is feeling that you are there, and you
Yes.
feel when you are there, when everything that you see in front of you is kind of is real, like static. Then when you do actions in this world, first of all, you see those actions like performed by yourself. So you see your hands, you see your legs, and they all behave as they should. And then you see proper reactions in the world to whatever that you do. And then if it sounds as it should sound, then basically everything clicks in your head and you say, yes, I'm there. It's almost like, having a virtual reality headset without the actual virtual reality headset.
Yes.
So nailing that graphics and representing the world that we put you in was basically so. Just by definition, is the pillar of everything that we are doing and what we will be doing. And also that's a benefit of us having our own technology because there's Unreal, Unity, a lot of universal engines, but we have built our own technology called C Engine, specifically to create the games that we want to make. So there's a number of very kind of complex technical solutions in the engine that actually allow us to do what we do. That
Mm.
allow us to put so many objects in front of you in the scene, that allow us to have them being so interactive, that allow us to have those little details that when the rain is falling, you see like different streams of water going down on different
Yes,
surfaces, etc., etc. So this is important for us because we want to make you feel like you are in this world, and the more realistic it is, of course it's better for the immersion.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think it's so, like, honestly, I was talking. I feel bad because I forget his name. I think it was Jacob, who was the guy who was. I feel like that's the
Jacob,
name.
yes,
And
yes,
he
yes, Jacob, yep, our QA
okay,
guy.
so it's Jacob. Yeah, so he was the one who was doing the Summer Games Fest preview with me,
Yes,
and we were going through it, and like I was so lost in the world. It just looks so beautiful. And one of my things is like when I'm playing something that's really pretty, like a very graphically intensive game, I play the game literally. I consider it like I play it in trailer mode where like everything I'm always walking, like I'm walking, like
yes,
I'm always looking
yep,
at everything.
yep.
Like I don't want to rush past the world. Like I love it. And if you're like me, and that's why maybe I talk about it so much, is that because I do that when I see something graphically impressive and I walk through that world, I do see those details, right? I do pick up on everything, and like I'll just stand somewhere for a while and just watch the world, right? And I see the trees moving and billowing, and I look out in the distance and see that all the detail is still out there. It's not just a static image that is gonna come to life when I get closer, right? Like it feels like it's always alive, and when I get there it was always there. Like it's not just turning on for me. I really appreciate those details, and I'm so glad that you guys are doing it this way because it means a lot to people like me who appreciate the graphics of it. Uh, again, you got to combine that with good gameplay and all that fun stuff, which you do. But man, the
Thank you,
graphics are just,
thank you,
you
thank you. And
guys
you can expect
nailed it.
us to be on this trajectory as we move forward, because, as I said, this is how we define what we do. This is the philosophy that we want to take moving forward to our future projects as well.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Um, what would you say uh, when you guys? Because obviously this is a upgrade, a huge upgrade, right? Like you guys made a big upgrade, but obviously there's like, you got to cap it somewhere, right? You have to be like, okay, this is as far as we're gonna go. Like, what would you say was like the and maybe you can attest to this because maybe this is not what you deal with so much or whatever it is, but like, what moment did you guys look at it? It was like, okay, this is the image we want, right? Like this is the look. This is how we want to move forward with this game. We've reached it. This is the pinnacle of how this game is going to look. Like, what was it for you?
I have never met a game developer that has said this is the pinnacle of what I wanted to do. Like, if you ask any game developer what they will say, this game, oh man, the only thing I see in it is bugs, things I would like to do differently,
Oh
like
man,
things I would like to improve. So, like, I love Dying Light. The Beast is a great game, and actually we have been playing it before the release, like waiting. There's a moment there's a moment where you cannot really do much because the game is ready. You have sent it to submission. It just goes through a process before it gets released. You also don't know anything about the player reception, so you don't know if there's things that you should focus potential tweaks, upgrades, whatever. So, like
Mhm.
2-3 weeks before the release, we have been playing the game over and over and over and over and over. Of course, taking notes, maybe some like notes for us what we would like to have tweaked, but still you've been playing it over and over. After the release, the same. It's a great game, but definitely not the pinnacle. Definitely we want to do more. Definitely
Nice,
we want to do a game which is nicer visually, which is even more reactive when it comes to the world. Where the kind of the physics, the immersion of everything that happens in front of you, like the reactions of enemies, everything, that it can be even more complex. We are super proud of what we achieved with Dying Light: The Beast, but at the same time we have tons of ideas what we would like to do next. What, like, the
that's
next,
awesome.
maybe even we'll manage to put some of those ideas back to the Beast, but generally thinking about the next project. So where we want to take it, where the next one will excel over the Beast, because I'm sure it will excel the Beast. That's on many levels.
That gets me more excited, man, because I cannot wait to see what you guys do next because this was amazing. One of the things that really stood out to me was the way that you can kill these zombies, right? Like these creatures, right? Like the way you can and the reactions, it's insane, right? So like this is not a super easy game, right? Like you're right, you can go ahead and during the day you have a little more control, but it's very easy even during the day to go ahead and make the wrong turn and bump into the wrong thing and then have a bunch of people on you and then you're like trying to get out. So one of the things that I love to do that I it's kind of like my thing is I have a two-handed axe, right? I get as strong as one as possible and I crouch. And they're all around, and I just swing at all the legs, and I just take them all out. Like they just constantly, they just all fall. And you swing again, and then sometimes when you swing back, you knock the head off, like they
Wow.
just fly. But that's every time I go any enemy, I don't swing up anymore. In the beginning, when I first started playing, I was fighting with people up top. Now I drop down and I'm taking everybody's legs off. It's
That
it's
yeah,
glorious.
that's super interesting because, to be honest, I don't think I have seen that particular behavior any at any time in my life. When we do a lot of playtests, and playtests usually work like that. You either invite people to your own office, or maybe there are people playing somewhere around the world, but you see what they do on some kind of a stream. And of course, I cannot sit with people that when they play like the whole game, 20 hours, 30 hours, etc. But of course, like usually when the playtests happen, I work like on my PC in front of me, but I have another screen on my side where from time to time I just glance at how people are playing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen a lot of player behaviors in Dying Light games, but this one in particular I have
I'm
never
telling
seen.
you, go back and do it.
Yes, actually, I need to. Actually,
It's
that's
the
what I.
greatest thing because they
That's
just all
exactly.
like there could be six people around you, and you just what, and they just whoosh, you just see them
Oh
all
wow.
fall, and then as you keep chopping them, you just see parts fall off, people getting cut in half, heads are getting knocked off. It's so good, but it's because like the fact that you guys haven't really seen that is a testament to how amazing this experience is because I was able to look at the game and say, all right, when I'm surrounded, I got a lot of people around me. And when I'm hitting them with my axe, like they'll fall back, but they'll still be right. Like they're ready to come back at you, right? But when you take their legs, they're down and you're free. And this works with basically everyone who's not one of those big people.
Yeah,
So,
so I need to say two things. The first thing is that we actually have to try it, and also have to try it because we are working right now on the new difficulty level for the game, Nightmare difficulty, which will be released by the end of the year.
oh
And I think we'll have to do something about people playing
no, you can't take it away.
just for the nightmare difficulty. I think this is I think we need to come up with some kind of a design, balance choice that will decision that will kind of maybe make it not so overpowered
Oh
as you
man.
mentioned, but just nightmare. Like we won't touch your regular playthrough. But the other thing is that this is a great testament of something that was always very important for us when it comes to Dying Light, where we always were saying that what we give players is creative brutality. Like we want actually we create those systems so it's not really very tight, very scripted. It leaves a lot of space for players to come up with their own strategies, with their own ways of kind of being
Oh yeah.
brutal in this world. And it seems you actually did exactly the thing. So yeah, it works.
Yeah, I found the definitive way. I mean, it's the definitive answer. Two hand axe,
Yes, I have.
crouch,
We have to check
take
it.
out
We
the
have to
legs.
check it. We have to check it. We have to
Yeah,
check it.
it's the greatest thing ever. I love it. It's so satisfying. So that's what I love about it because I feel like I beat the system. Like I outsmarted them. Like
Good
they
for
think they're
you.
gonna come attack me, and I'm like, bro, you're up there. I'm down here. You're down.
Yep.
It's
Yep. Yep.
beautiful.
Yep. Good for you. Good for you. Actually, the good for you is a saying that we have at Techland because from time to time we come up with those exploits. Like we come up with, hey, but if someone does this and that and this and that and that, then he will get a reward bigger than we anticipated. But usually, what we say then, okay, good for that guy, like good for him. He came up with
Yeah.
this idea. He executed this plan. It worked. Okay, it's fine with us. So again, we don't want to make Dying Light kind of too scripted, too tight, too controlled, because we want to have a lot of space for ideas like those.
Oh, I appreciate it. And if you want to put like in the credits of the nightmare, if they beat it, that hey, shout out to CMoney for
Yeah.
finding the leg chop. But it's very specifically the leg chop. The other things work, but they don't work as well because they're blunt. So you're hitting them,
Yeah.
and yes, sometimes you can get them to fall, but it's the cut that gets them. You know,
Oh
it's
wow,
the
yeah, yeah, I
axe.
get it now. When you described it, I instantly kind of got it. Yes, this works. So
Yeah, it's glorious.
yeah, the
It really is
CMoney technique. Yeah,
the CMoney technique. That's it. You got to name it. I feel like
yeah.
it's fair. Okay, and then the other question I have is, um, when you look at um, the performance of what's available for these games to ship on the boxes, the hardware that's out there, like how do you guys balance knowing how far you want to push it while also keeping in mind, that there's less powerful hardware out there, like the base model, like the Series S, or if you guys did you guys announce it for the Switch too? I feel like
No, no. But for example, like I think a great example here is Steam Deck.
Steam Deck as
Because of
well.
Steam Deck, like of course this is not the newest machine. It's a great machine actually. It's one like I sometimes I play more on Steam Deck than any other platform that I have, but still, of course, it's not the newest one. But like thankfully, what happens, and like maybe a little asterisk. This is actually the area where I said before I'm not the strongest, but
Yep, yep.
the hardware, what it does to you, and how generally it's handled and how games handle hardware, is that there's still a lot of room for scalability, for some kind of adding or removing the effects, adding or removing the resolution even. So of course, what we want to do is we want to be able to present the game at the highest possible level on the highest end hardware,
Yes.
but we are absolutely not forgetting about the lower end. And for us, the key is to be optimizing the game throughout the whole development. Like for many developers, for many reasons, usually what happens is they almost have the game ready, and then the last month, the last 2 months, they
Yes.
are trying to optimize it. And of course, that's an approach. But what we have discovered is it's much better when you are trying to be kind of healthy in terms of performance right from the start of the production. We actually do optimization tests, optimization passes. Basically, every big milestone, there's a number of people that just work on optimization. Thanks to that, when the game is close to the release, we are in a very good kind of state, which allows us to go higher on high-end machines, but also keep the requirements reasonable. Usually, like I'm talking optimization and kind of working on performance, how it usually works in video game production is that you work on higher end machines and you just cram everything that you can into the game, and then you are 2 months before the release and you have to release it, and then you realize, oh shit, but it doesn't work well. So then you keep removing or
Yep.
simplifying the objects or simplifying the fixes or simplifying the code for AI, which not many people notice, but it is actually one of the heaviest things in the that kind of uh, put pressure on CPUs and GPUs. So first you add a lot of stuff and then you remove a lot of stuff, and sometimes you don't even know where you will end up with our approach, where we do that every milestone, where we do it continuously, we have much more control over it. And then at the end of the production, we actually can add even more extra stuff because we are quite good at that point. Then we do some optimization to make it even better. And then we can even kind of crank up the visuals, some code maybe to a higher level because we still have space to squeeze that in.
See, and that's it's crazy because you guys were clearly a game that ran well across everything, and you didn't have people who were, you guys didn't put out a statement saying, man, it was hard to make the game on these lower consoles and stuff, right? Like you guys just made the game and it worked where it needed to work. And it's cool that you guys, it's almost like they exist already, so you are planning for it as opposed to, I don't know, pretending that they don't exist until the very end. You're like, all right, well, let's try to fit it. It's like, well, maybe you should have been thinking about that. So you guys,
Yeah, of
uh,
course.
you could definitely see it, right? Because it
Yes,
does
yes,
run
absolutely,
well.
absolutely. But also, then we can kind of. I'm not saying it was super conscious that, but then there's also that. If you look at Steam and you look at I think that's actually quite easily accessible even from someone from outside. If you look at Steam, I think Steam even publishes that. If you look at the average hardware that a Steam user
Yep.
uses, it's actually super obsolete. Like
It's
it's
a
not even
1080
something.
Ti, I
Yes,
think, right
it's not
now.
something that you would say, "Hey, this is the current standard." I'm not
Yep.
even talking about the current high end. It's not even the current standard. It's actually below the current standard. So kind of there's millions of people that don't have the advantage, the benefit of the newest hardware, and you still want to reach them with your game. You still want them to have fun with your game. So that's why you have to keep thinking about it from the start of the project, as we did.
Now, did you guys do like, is it like a officially Steam Deck optimized?
Yes, it's verified. It's verified.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys actually did that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know if you did it on the other side, but like I recently got the Xbox Ally X, the handheld,
Hmm.
which I love, and I have like I still play Dying Light, the Beast. I've been playing it on my handheld, and it runs amazingly. Like
Thank you.
it runs beautifully, and you guys didn't even really like, you did it for the Steam Deck, but you didn't necessarily do it for this one. Which obviously, if you did it for Steam Deck, it's going to work well over here. But it
Yep.
just it's such a big deal. Now, let me ask you. Obviously, you guys see that these handhelds are coming out and they're becoming more dominant. Do you guys, obviously knowing that there's like these smaller screens, is that something that you guys are going to be taking in consideration going forward with the idea of like your games will end up being played on handhelds as well?
I think so. Like this is Steam Deck and hopefully Ali as well. Those are important platforms. Currently, Switch as well. I would love to have the game on Switch. So, uh, like again, those platforms get so popular because people want to play on those platforms, and I think
Yes.
wouldn't be right for us to say, "Hey, but like you shouldn't be playing on those platforms." Like our game can only be played on this. We want to reach as many players because of course business, but we know that we are making really kick-ass games, like games that really kind of give you that enjoyment of action interaction, like this kind of almost in a way old school but kind of very very visceral feel. Hey, this is a cool game, I do cool stuff in it and it responds to me with cool things happening on the screen. So of course, if someone wants to play it like on a handheld, I don't know, on the plane or in the toilet, of course, have fun. And as I said, with our approach, it's actually quite easy to keep the performance under control, make sure that it will work on those platforms. We have managed to do it with Dying Light 1, Dying Light 2, Dying Light the Beast as well. I of course those platforms will also keep growing, so I think we'll be able to adapt and kind of take the quality higher and higher and higher. But yes, like those are actually like okay, the best experience for me of playing Dying Light is you have this big screen in front of you, the room is completely dark, it's just you, the controller, and you are fully there, like really fully there. Like
Yep.
if you look at my, I will not turn the camera, but actually I have my kind of my setup on the side, so it's like there's a big screen which I see basically like a meter in front of me, so like
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
really there.
Yep. Yep.
But then the handhelds, of course, is also a great way to have fun with what we do with what we do in our games. And to be honest, at some point you are kind of graphic tech person, and I appreciate that and absolutely fully respect that. But for me, I think there's a point where graphics are not that important, because you kind of get the feel, get the physical emotion of playing a game that can work even without those high end graphics. And I think actually Dying Light is one of those games. Like, if you look at people playing Dying Light, I have been playing Dying Light for 12 years now, 13 even, but
Mm.
because like when it started production. But what I see in me, but also in other people, Dying Light is a game where you play with your whole body. Like, you don't just, you don't just sit and use the controller. If you make a jump, your whole body does this, like does this forward motion to kind of help the character
Yep, yep.
to do the jump. So this is like a very nice, very physical game, and I think you can get that even if you play on Steam Deck or any other platform like that.
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, it's funny because I don't know, I'm on the Xbox All X, and I play everywhere, but on the Xbox All X, when I'm playing there, like I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I feel like
Yeah.
the entire package is there on the screen. Graphically, I still think it looks gorgeous. It does everything I need it to do, and it runs extremely well. And yeah, I mean, listen, your game, like just the way it was designed, the parkour system is literally the best one that exists, right? Like I don't understand at what point people don't just say, all right, let's grab that game and let's figure out how to copy what they're doing when I'm in a world, because that's the only way. Like, you have the best version. Like, it's not like, so, like, for instance, like Assassin's Creed, right? There has a lot of great parkour in it, right? But I feel like Assassin's Creed is more of like an automated process at this point, right? Where you kind of just push forward and it's gonna go. Where I feel like is way more tactile in Dying Light, where you can, like, I'm literally like calculating, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm turning, I'm like, all right, I can make that jump. Let me I'm from this ledge, I could jump to this ledge, and it works. It's like, all right, I already know my character, like I understand him, and that's what allows me to do well with the parkour versus it being just an automated process. Because it's not like, if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, he's not gonna just do everything that you want him to do. You have to still engage. And you guys just nailed it. It is the by far the best parkour system I've ever experienced. And it's fun, right? So you guys balance the technicality of being able to do it to it becoming a thing that just allows you to explore the world in the only way I could consider it, in a powerful way. Like, I feel powerful blasting through this world however I want, because I can, and I know I have the ability to do so. So kudos to you guys, because the game is just fun regardless of what it looks like. Because you guys crushed the fundamental of what you guys wanted it to be, which is a parkour system that I can escape when I want to. I don't feel like I'm stuck somewhere. Like, when I'm getting chased at night, my fear is that he's going to kill me, but my mind goes into like, all right, I'm looking at ways that I'm going to go. All right, I'm going to swing this way. I'm going to throw my grapple hook over here. I'm going to swing up there. Like, I feel in control, right? Feel in control the whole time, which is dope. It's really cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Now, you mentioned it before, but just to kind of get an idea, you guys have your own engine, right? The
Yes.
C engine. And obviously, clearly, it's a phenomenal engine, right? It handles gameplay like a beast. It has the graphics like that are insane, right? What made you guys decide to go that route? Obviously, you already decided before the beast, but just in general, like, what made you guys say nothing out here is kind of going to work for us? We want to build our own tech.
We have a history of building our own tech, because Techland is around for 30 years now, so actually quite long. And since at least since 20 years, we have been using our own engine. And I think this allowed us to understand what's the benefit of having your own tech. And the benefit of having your own tech, actually, there are two biggest benefits. The first thing is that you have the tech built specifically to what you want to make. And as I said, we don't want to make, we don't want to make a football game, 2D platformer, I don't
Yep.
know, a puzzle game, a strategy game. We know what kind of games we are making. So we have built a tool which is tailored specifically for this. So, so that's point number one. Point number two is that with those more universal engines, because it's not your engine, and if you want to have some kind of improvement, change, tweak to that engine, you basically have to go to this company or that company, stand in line, and wait till your ticket is up, and they can or not apply the tweaks, introduce
Mm,
the changes that you need to have made for your game. For us,
mm.
basically, what happens is I just put on my flip flops, and I go from the fourth floor where I work to the third floor where the engine team is, and I say, "Hey guys,
Nice.
we need this over the next week." And even if it's not like fully implemented within the week, then at least we have a prototype. At least we have something to test. So, kind of the flexibility, the speed at which we can iterate with ideas using the kind of engine ideas, engine solutions is incomparable. And the third thing is that for Dying Light, we have, I mentioned details, we have all of those details already kind of balanced, tweaked, set up exactly as we want them in the engine. And now imagine we are moving a game to, for example, I don't know, Unreal Engine, let's say, or any other engine that kind of does those things. And then maybe it would be quite easy for us and quick for us to replicate, the world, the look of the character, but actually the feel of the game, like
Mm,
we can even put in the same animations, but the kind of the physics, everything, it will be different instantly. And then tuning it back to what we have in our own engine, this would be a very long, very tremendous process that might not even yield the results that we would need.
mm.
So we are happy of having a tool which is built specifically for what we want to build, and it's tuned with all of the kind of secret sauce details, like the little tweaks, little elements that make our game, which
Mm.
might not even be kind of which might not be even possible to be redone in any other engine. So really, I think this is almost like our secret weapon, the fact
Yeah.
that we have our engine which is optimized as it is, which we have so much flexibility to work with, which has all of the elements of the game already nailed down. Of course, it has its also disadvantages, like the tools aren't as, this is not the engine that a lot of those more universal engines, there are almost like, like an Apple iOS, like everything is super intuitive. You think about something and it happens almost.
Yeah. Yep.
So of course, like our, I would say our, how do you call it, like the back, okay, let's say our UI for the editor,
Like the
like
back
everything
end.
back end, yes, it's maybe it's not like, it's not that seamless, it's not that intuitive, like, okay, it
It's not
maybe
new user friendly.
is new user, it's not that new user friendly exactly, but it's not needed. Like, we have our team, of course the team grows, we get new people in, but they get it quickly. Is maybe a little bit less pleasant to work with, less, the icons are less shiny and rounded,
Yep.
but the effects, yeah, like you cannot dispute with the effects. Like, our game performs well, has everything, all of the gameplay details locked down, and we can do whatever we want with our engine to fit the types of games that we want to make.
Do you guys like, is that, are you the only ones who use it, or do you
Yes,
guys,
yes, 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 yes,
you
yes.
don't let other people kind of use it type deal? Okay. I do want to give a shout out because I feel like this is a lesser spoken about scenario in your game, but whoever worked on it is amazing. And I feel like maybe there is another route that you guys can go when making games, and that's the vehicle.
Okay,
The truck that you get into when you drive, it feels amazing. I I love finding a truck and just going. It's, as much as I love the parkour and doing everything on foot. the truck feels so good. The physics that you guys apply to it, it's every time I'm doing a turn or I'm going up a hill, it's like it just feels right. I feel like you can have a race mode if you want it in your game somehow. Let us just drive around the world. But it's really well done. I mean, I don't know if you even like paid attention to it like that. Like, hey, go put the car in there, make it feel good. But it's great, man. I don't know who works. I don't know if it's a big team who's working on it or just a few people who worked on the truck. But it feels really good. Did you? I mean, do you feel that? Do you guys really
Okay,
look at
okay.
that?
So
Or
there's a little backstory here. So first of all, I will pass the kudos to my friend Sebastian Kowal, who's kind of the lead engineer on driving,
there you go.
and Sebastian is actually like he's almost like a one man army. So of course he got some help, but like a lot of it of how the vehicle handles is basically made by just two hands of Sebastian.
That's wild.
But the interesting bit is that. And in a way, it was like you said, like we said, hey, Sebastian, like, give us a vehicle and like, see you in 6 months. And we know that this vehicle will be great. Uh, of course, I'm kind of cutting corners here, simplifying a little, but basically that's what it was. And why it was possible, because not many people know this, but about 20 years ago, Techland was actually publishing rally games. We were a super small
Really?
company back then, so the series was called Expand Rally, and the only thing, like actually, the people that used to play a lot of rally games, racing games back then, they were telling us that it's comparable, if not better, than the series Colin McRae Rally, which was the biggest like
Yep, yep,
rally series
yep.
back
I
then.
remember that.
But the thing was that we was the super small company from Poland, so we weren't able to afford the licenses for the cars. So we had,
Mhm.
made up cars on made up
Yep.
courses. So kind of it kept the game a little from exploding. But the driving model was super good back then, and actually Sebastian is the guy that worked on that 20 years ago. He's like a car
Really?
enthusiast. He's kind of following all of the trends in racing games, trying to reverse engineer how other guys are doing this. So we have a lot of secret weapons in at Techland.
Yes.
Actually,
Well, this is a
he's
big
our
one.
secret weapon for driving, because like again he got some support, but he was the lead on how the vehicle handles, and I fully agree it handles beautifully. Like my dream is, I'm not sure, like again we are talking about business, but I'm not sure if there's a market for it, but what I would love to see is almost like Dying Light Carmageddon, something where you just drive a vehicle,
Ooh,
kind
yes.
of go through zombies, do
Yeah,
crazy
so
stuff.
listen, this is the thing. Don't you do it as a mode first. Do it as a
Yes.
mode. Just let it be
Yep.
a small mode. Put it in the game. See the reception because I could tell you that sounds so dope. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that would be so cool. Honestly, like if it, I would never consider it a critique against the game because I feel like the game itself is separate from that car, how well that car moves. But driving that truck makes me wish that there was a bunch more vehicles that I can just find some gas and throw in there and just hop into it because it feels so good. Like I played like the other Dying Light part two, I think is had the a vehicle in there as well, right? Like you could drive in part
Yep.
two,
Yep, yep.
was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel the same. This was
Okay.
this is next level, right? Like I feel like driving in this game feels like that's literally like part of the game. Like I could see a world where you guys go ahead and blow out the world even more and create more roadways where driving to that next area is a part of it because
Yeah.
I really love the driving. I feel like it's super underrated. I don't feel a lot of people talking about it, but it's every time I see a truck, I'm getting in that truck and I'm driving and I love it. And it's not only that, but you guys like the gameplay layered on top of it with the way the zombies like another game I really like is State of Decay, right? Which
Yep.
has a lot of vehicles, right? Like it's almost
Yes.
like I could see that relation take place where you can create more of a vehicle function in this game. But like they have like the zombies that jump in and you can open the door and hit them and stuff, which is really cool. But I feel like the way you guys handle the zombies with the vehicle is really nice, man. The way they hop off and the way you can like bump things and you'll see them slide off, and sometimes they fall or not, but they fall, and it's really, I really do enjoy it. And I think that you guys, kudos to Sebastian for being the one man wrecking crew over there handling the truck physics, because it feels so good to drive. Like it really feels good. And it's actually I would say it's an, a significant reason why I still play it even after the fact, is because I do enjoy. I love running around doing the things, but then I love getting in the car and just going and like splashing these zombies all over the ground. It's so good, man. It's so good. So kudos to him. Kudos to him.
Thank you.
Okay, so it just had another couple questions, more about, obviously, you know, I'm sure you guys been hearing it probably more so than us, but it seems like there's a lot of chatter now going around with the next gen of consoles, right? Xbox has been coming out talking about it a lot. PlayStation's been talking about it. AMD's coming out here talking about it, right? And obviously you guys are working on your next, whatever's next, right? So, I guess, a couple of things. One, what do you feel in general about the idea of next gen? Like some people are saying that maybe it's too soon because these consoles haven't been maxed out, quote unquote. Other people like myself is like, bring it on. I'm ready for what's next. Cause I do want pushing more and more and more. So, like, what do you think about the idea of next gen? And in your, like, just from your perspective, what do you hope the next gen of consoles brings so that you and your talented team can, push those desires you have for the game even further?
Yeah. So actually, that's a tricky question. And also, what I would say right now, I would say is quite personal. Basically, I will tell you what I think.
Yep.
It will be more personal, not like what I think as a franchise director, more what I think as a player mostly, and also a game developer. And what I think is that, and also I think because I'm not, a graphics person. Like I'm not really that obsessed with graphics.
That's wild, because you make such a
Personally,
graphically impressive game.
personally, I'm kind of satisfied with what we have right now. I was like, to be honest,
Okay.
I was satisfied last gen. Like,
Oh, okay. All right.
probably I was even
So you're one of
satisfied with.
those.
Yeah, I was probably even satisfied with Xbox 360, to be honest.
Oh,
But
wow.
okay, let's cut
All
that.
right.
No,
All
of
right. All
course,
right.
no. Like, of course, you see the progress, right? You see the bumped resolution. You see like
Yep.
the fidelity it gives you. And when I say fidelity, I'm not even talking about static pictures, but like in animations, like the moves get more
Yes.
detailed. Of course, that's super
Yes. Yes.
important,
Yes.
and that makes a lot of sense. But I am a little bit disappointed with this generation because, and that's why I'm not super convinced we need the next one, because I don't see that much creativity in this generation that really, and especially creativity actually connected with the increased processing power. Like
Mhm.
you see a lot of interesting ideas, new ideas, but those ideas, actually, a lot of those ideas are coming from games that can be played on Steam Deck.
Mhm.
When you look at the big games that usually are the games that are using this high fidelity graphics and that bump up in graphics and realism, you
Mhm.
don't really see that much of a new stuff. And that's kind of something that of course, bring it on. Like I want better graphics, of course, that makes sense. But actually I would be interested in some kind of a something that would make gameplay different. Gameplay feels fresh, like something that could actually impact how we either how we play or how we feel about play. Like I was, for example, hoping a lot for the haptic feedback on PlayStation 5 controller. I was thinking, hey, this is something new. Like this is a new way of interacting, or at least giving feedback to players. So probably there are ideas how to do more with this. But to be honest, aside from the fact that mostly like PS5 exclusive games, kind of you get a little bit of that feedback. Not much has happened with this. Like to be super
Mhm.
honest, right?
Yeah.
So I would love to get something like like. Oh, this is maybe the worst example, but something like a Nintendo Wii type of breakthrough,
Like
or new.
motion, yeah,
I,
something that was that big.
like I say this is a bad example because actually don't think that the motion would be the thing, but I would like to the new gen to bring something that changes how we play, right? And even if you look at I mentioned Xbox 360, but actually I think Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 era, it actually achieved something in the way how we play. What? Because those games, that generation, made online play popular and kind of almost like a new element of almost every game, and that was very important for me because before that we were playing just all of us alone in front of our box, maybe with some friends invited over, but that was mostly Nintendo and coach co-op experiences. But then Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, like they made online an important part of gaming and interacting with other players. And that was fresh. That was new. That generation actually changed how we play. And then after that, like it's actually we didn't get a lot of it, a lot of it, right? So I would hope for something like this. Of course, I understand like online gameplay has a lot of pros and cons, but also it can have so many shapes and forms that I think here is something that almost like a very low hanging fruit that the game developers could take and use somehow. I don't know, but if the next gen is just more graphics, then of course bring it on. But I would expect more. I would expect something fresh. I would expect something that would actually kind of impact, take gaming to yet another level, not just the same game being played in a higher fidelity graphics.
No, I get that. I get that. I feel like I feel like you're right as far as like the games have pretty much I almost feel like you have all the games that are ever going to be made as far as like what types of games exist,
Yep,
right? Like there's so little that has really changed outside of the graphics, which again
yep.
I'm all for, but I think you're right. I don't know, you know, I mean that's why I'm not a developer. Like I can't wrap my head around the idea of what would even be like a new thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, which
Yep.
I like. I mean, obviously,
If
people
I
do come up
if
with
I were
things.
to bet, yeah, if I were to bet, I would think that one possible breakthrough in the next gen that's related to processing power would be some introduction of AI, and I mean that on many levels. So this can be, for example, I
Yep.
mentioned already that even like for our game, for example, actually AI of enemies around you is one of the heaviest kind of elements that we have to use processing power for.
Mm,
So if the processing power increases, then we could have more active AIs on screen doing more complex things, right? So this kind of pushes us into like an easy example. Imagine a GTA game where there's an even bigger number of citizens on the streets, maybe even as big as in real life, and all of them do meaningful things, and it kind of makes sense, and they interact with each other. So that processing power could be used for this take on AI, but also the other thing is, and that's something that we see a lot of studios experimenting with already, is I don't know, meeting an NPC and actually what he says is generated by AI, right? And it makes
yes,
sense, it sounds right, but it makes your playthrough kind of your own playthrough
unique.
because no one
Yep.
else had those words and that sentence. So here probably I think that we could get some kind of a breakthrough. Let's see, we'll see. But again, if it's just more graphics, of course I love graphics as well, but I'm not that graphic person that really obsesses over details. I think graphics are, I kind of soak them, I get them,
Yes.
but I'm looking for, especially I am in the industry for more than 20 years right now, and like more than 10 years I spent as a game journalist, so I was basically playing every game that was out there. So I kind
Yeah.
of, as you said, I sometimes I get a new game and I kind of get excited about it, but then I keep playing it and I feel, but I kind of played it already. Like it's like
Yeah.
there's it's okay, different character, different world. The
Yeah.
dragon, maybe this time he's a little golden here and like he has this
Yeah.
black
Yep.
thing over his head, but actually
Yep.
he's not that much different compared to the dragon I have killed like 3 years ago in a different game, which has like a gold head and red wings, right? So
100%.
yeah,
100%.
so that's that.
So it's funny because you brought up AI, because that's where I was going to go next with it, because that is for me. You spent a lot of time talking about. I think a word that is key to me as a gamer. For me as a gamer, the thing that gets me the most excited about playing these games is the immersion, right? For me, that's what I want to feel, immersed into a world. I want to feel things that I can't feel from TV and movies and stuff like that. Like, I want to feel present there, and I want to feel like everything is happening around me and I'm in there and it's me who's playing, and that's me in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm experiencing that. And you brought up the AI, and I think, obviously not every game is going to be able to use it the same way, because I don't think that some games are going to be very directed and you need certain things to be said every time, right? Which is fine. But like you said, a game like Grand Theft Auto, a game like Elder Scrolls, right? Or any of these games that are a little more open world, even Dying Light, right? For to be able to populate a world where there's more survivors than you were going to just hand place, but because you can have a character who's holed up in a house and AI is controlling that character and coming to the window when you're fighting outside and sees you, and after you finish the fight says, hey, what I'm saying, like something that you couldn't put there because you didn't know where I was going to be when a cool fight happened. But maybe like things like that, the idea that AI can talk to you, and the responses can be generated but appropriate. The other thing too is I feel like animation, right? One of the biggest things that I love about this game is how everything animate, the world animates so well, and your characters and everything animates so well. But you know there are certain scenarios or certain situations that you can't necessarily animate every possible scenario. And I'm sure there's ways that AI can be used in that sense to kind of populate animations in between all the ones that you create, which allows the world to really uh feel more real and more immersive. And that's really my excitement for the possibility of the future. Is I feel like the immersion level can rise. But then there's the other side of AI that a lot of people are having, a backlash to. And I guess I wonder your take on it. Is the idea of like generative AI and like producing things that you didn't, is different, where if you make a model and you make some animations and you have AI fill in the gaps of some of these animations to make it look better or to adapt better. But the idea of just saying, hey, make me a character and make an anime, and then it does it. Like, where do you stand on the entire idea of AI in the broader sense of generative and things like that?
It's, I think it's simple. AI is basically a tool, and you can use any tool, a hammer, a pen, in good way or a bad way. And if you use it in a bad way, it will just not do you any good. Like you will not nail that how do you call it? Like you will not put that nail where it's supposed to be, and you will not write a great novel. Actually, Dying Light the Beast, I would say it's an anti-AI game in a way,
Mm,
because we really took a lot of pride into making sure that the world that we have created is handcrafted, and we have been
nice.
using that word a lot during the promotion, because we really wanted to highlight that is literally handcrafted in a way that basically every square inch of the map, every frame, whenever, like in every place of the map, when you look around and you see something around you, this has been placed by real people, by real artists there, just for you to create this kind of realistic world that you can get kind of into it, soaked in. um, And actually, that's one of the learnings that we took from Dying Light 2, because Dying Light 2 Stay Human, we have created a tool called City Builder for that game, which
Mm,
it wasn't AI, but it allowed us to kind of automatically generate huge parts of the map. And then we could, of course, kind of tweak it, etc., etc. But it was like we felt it's something that will make the production easier, and it kind of did. But then when people started playing the game, they like one of the feedback for Dying Light 2 was that it's a great, like the mechanics are great, like it looks great, but we don't feel like it's real. Like we don't really feel that this is, that this is the
mm,
place where, like, this is a real city where we can get lost in.
yes.
And
Mm,
from that we have actually learned that, at least at this stage, you cannot really have that unless you have real artists, real people with real passion who put like their vision, their stories even into the world to make it feel real. And as I said, the most important thing for us is immersion. The AI tools aren't on the level yet where they can create the situations like you've mentioned in a way that they kind of not in the uncanny valley territory that you can get into them, because
yeah.
you will feel instantly, okay, so there's something artificial here, and we don't
Yeah.
want that. And I was saying that our artists have put basically their own stories into the game, and that's, I'm literal about it. Like, there are items in the world that have been brought back by our artists from their homes, scanned into like 3D scanned, and then put into the world. Basically,
Yep.
you see like a blanket, a watch, like a bowl, a plate that exists in real
Yes.
life in our artists' homes, and it just like we use it and we put it into the game world. So, again, AI is a great tool. I will not fight with AI, because like this is like we see it already. It's like a revolution on the level of internet in general, but it's just a tool. And as humans, we have to use that tool in a good way, responsibly. Don't overuse it, don't overexploit it. Also, because
Lean on it
like that,
exclusively.
it will not work. Like that, it will not get the effect that we want. Like right now, it looks like an easy shortcut to things, but actually it isn't, because when you work on games, you want them to have the quality, you want them to kind of be have that level of immersion that is basically unachievable right now. Maybe in the future, I don't know. Like, we see how quickly the AI technology grows, so maybe at some point it will be there where we expect it to be, but also maybe not, because we also already start seeing the limits to the technology. We start seeing that maybe it's not so viable in terms of business. So we'll see. Right now, definitely, we are in some kind of a stage where a new technology is rising rapidly. We see its benefits, but we also start seeing its disadvantages. But going back, kind of landing on the ground, real life, the beast actually is, I would say, it's an anti AI game, because how handcrafted, how much it is a game made with passion and love.
Yeah. I mean, and you could definitely sense it. I mean, the passion rings true there for sure. Let me ask you this: do you feel like it's difficult, or like how would you say, like, you're making a new game, and I would I'm of the mind, and of course you don't have to confirm anything, but I'm of the mind that the idea of generations where next gen is coming and that means this gen is dead. I think I almost feel like that's a thing of the past. I think that the systems we have right now are very capable, and I feel like it's going to take a lot for a game to be made that can't run on these systems for the foreseeable future. But that being said, how do you guys kind of test for the upper bounds without knowing exactly what is coming? Like, obviously, I'm sure whatever you're making, you're keeping an eye towards whatever's next, right? Whatever the next consoles are, because they're talking about it now, and it's going to take you guys a while to make whatever you're working on because you just released this. So, is it something where you just kind of aim as high as you can, and then once you get official specs, decide if that fits, or do you guys kind of build the game you want to build, irrelevant of what hardware is, and then see see where it fits after that.
To be honest, we kind of build the game that we want to make, and also what you said is that right now we are in this phase where, like, if you look at PlayStation 2, let's say, and PlayStation 3, or PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, those were completely different technologies. This is like two different universes. Right
Mm.
now it's not like that. It's how you said, it's basically like a change between iPhone 15 and 16. It's basically the same tech, just better. Like, okay, we
Yep.
don't know exactly what's going to happen with the next Xbox, with the next PlayStation, and to be honest, I don't know as well, like, to a point. But everything that we hear says, hey, it's going to be an iteration. It's going to be just, this the same structure, the same philosophy in a way, the same model, just, with newer parts, with newer upgrades. So this continuity makes things much easier for developers, because as you mentioned, we don't really need to care that much. We just make a game that we want to make. For us, because we are multi-platform release, we are focusing on PC, which is kind of which instantly already gives you that scope of
Mm.
ranges, because you get the low end, the high end, and like the current consoles there are kind of, I would say, average, or even like on average on PC, let's say.
Yeah.
So we already kind of know the future in a way for consoles, because we work on
Mm.
PCs. We know, so we know what's the high end there. So I think this continuity actually makes things easier, because you basically just do a game on what you have. And of course, you kind of push a little here and there, like you reach the bounds of what you can do in terms of graphics, and you see your performance dropping. Then you optimize that. But then, if there is the next tech coming in, if you know that there's the next iteration, then you can kind of keep those elements that were breaking the boundaries, that were breaking the performance, on the side, and when the hardware is ready, you just take them back in, and it all still works.
Beautiful. No, makes sense, and I think that that's kind of honestly that's what you know. I think for me as a gamer, when I look at it, I love the fact that there's not going to be this weird period. You know what I'm saying? Like every time there's a new generation, there's like this weird period where like nothing is really taking advantage of it because they were kind of building it with
Yep.
the old stuff in
Yep.
mind and they're just kind of bumping it. Whereas now, because essentially it's just a more powerful with yes, newer tools and maybe new tricks that it could do, but it's still just more of what you already
Yes.
have. So
Yes.
it's not going to be like, oh, the next Xbox coming out. Well, man, we gotta let's restart, let's change the engine because we can't. It's not going to
Yep.
run right. It's like no, everything runs great. We could just crank it up, or we don't have to dial anything back on this one, or the very little changes from our PC build. So that's good to know. I think a lot of console gamers are going to be happy knowing that this next gen is not going to be the same transition that we had where it's like people are finally are like
Yeah. This is also
using it now.
Yeah, but this is also the thing that actually, that we already discussed it. But this kind of makes things more boring, because you kind of know what to expect,
Mm,
right? So, okay,
mm,
like, I will get another Assassin's Creed. I will get, I don't know, another Halo. I will get another Uncharted or Last of Us, and it will just be nicer, right? It will maybe
mhm.
bigger, okay, maybe more detailed, but still it's the same experience. And that's why I would love to get something new in the new generation of platforms in general, because then we could kind of see maybe new genres arising. Maybe we could see, something that wasn't really possible before, but it is possible right now. I think that's something that would be very, very nice.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, just as a kind of soft, like a side random. Does VR do anything for you? Like tickle, like do you think AR, VR? Do you think that is ever going to have a place in
It's
any
very hard.
real way?
So for the Anglia, it's very hard, because the biggest problem with VR is the kind of the fact that a lot of people have problems with it because of nausea and kind of not feeling good when they play it, and it happens because what you see in front, like in your eyes, is usually kind of very like it moves a lot. There's a lot of action. Like you feel,
Yeah,
you sense movement, but then your body understands that it's
it's not
static.
moving. Yep.
Yes, and this basically makes your senses go wild, and sometimes it ends up with you looking at the toilet, toilet bin,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
throwing your lunch back. So of course
Not
that's
the
the
view you
most
want.
extreme. Yes, exactly. Um, and the problem with Dying Light is that it's a very kind of fast moving, very traversal based
Very
game.
kinetic.
Yes, very
Yeah,
kinetic. So actually, we did a version of Dying Light 1 on VR, like very internal, and it was a great experience. Like the level of immersion was really next level. But
mm,
in a way, it wasn't sustainable, kind of, to have this game where you do so much jump, climb, drop from big, you do big drops, and you basically fall down like number of feet down.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was actually quite challenging on, like, especially on the people that get this kind of motion sickness. So I don't know, like, we're not planning anything in that space, but generally I also don't know, like, to be honest, I don't know. I think
Yeah.
there is a promise, there is a potential of having those experiences where you just put on the googles and you're completely lost in the world. So
Yeah.
I get that promise, but then I'm not sure if this is something that will really be of interest to that many people, that you completely kind of cut yourself from the
Cut
world,
off.
just kind of get
Yeah.
lost in what's in your googles. I don't know. I think kind of the how do you call it, the I miss a word, but generally kind of the logistics of the experience, they will not work for many people.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, look, obviously, it's been around for a while now,
Yep,
and it hasn't really taken
yep,
off, right? So I think
yep,
at a certain point, and you've had major, like, PlayStation got involved. Like, it's different if it was only on PC, and it's like, well, what if? But PlayStation got involved, right? It's one of the biggest platforms out there,
yep,
and they couldn't get their people to say, "Hey, let's pick up the VR headset and play," right?
yep,
So it's so small to like invest a lot into figuring it out. Doesn't really, I
yep,
don't think makes sense to most people. So
yep.
I definitely get that. All right, two quick ones and then we're done. Just one thing is Easter eggs. Is there anything in the world that you guys put in as a little Easter egg that maybe no one has found yet, or anything like that, or something that you just want to share with us that is in the world and we can go hunt for it? That's an Easter egg.
To be honest, I don't know, because actually, like, this is the first Dying Light game where I was barely a part of the Easter eggs process. I was actually traveling a
Mm,
lot when like, usually what we do is, at the very end of production, we do like, those Easter egg days, where the
okay.
developers, they don't focus on their actual tasks, like their daily tasks. They just, like, this is the day where we do the Easter eggs, and like,
Well, that's cool to know.
like,
That's awesome.
like a day of creativity at Techland. So basically everyone is kind of, it's almost like a Friday evening feeling, where the atmosphere, the tension is a little off, and everyone just comes up with
That's
crazy
cool.
ideas. But I was traveling at the time, so I kind of missed that this time around.
Mm,
So I and I haven't, even on purpose, I haven't looked, because, like, of course, like, Easter eggs are fun, but they are also part of the game, so they're actually tested by QA testers. There are design docs for the Easter eggs. So of course, there's a guy in our office, in our team, that was always like this Easter egg manager or producer, where he was keeping track of everything,
yep, yep.
and he has a list of all of the Easter eggs in Dying Light the Beast. But on purpose, I haven't looked at the list, because I want to discover all of them by myself. So I don't know. I don't, like, hand on heart, I don't know. I saw a lot of those Easter eggs being discovered. Like, I was watching it on YouTube and other channels that people have found a lot, Reddit, etc. But I don't know. Maybe there are still more that can be found. I know we are also adding a little with some of the new updates. So even if all of them have been found, there might be a new batch coming.
There'll
So
be new
brace
ones. All right.
yourselves. But
Awesome.
yeah, Easter eggs, this is a tradition since the first game, and that's actually one of the funniest things that we do. This is really a moment where, like, making games is a lot of fun, but it's also very hard. And there are days where you basically almost feel like, it's an office job. You just sit at your PC and just kind of type in numbers and see things happening. It's not always, this fun and excitement. It's basically, it's also a real work from time to time. But Easter eggs is definitely the moment where kind of some of that tension, some of that pressure, some of those daily problems can we can forget about them and just have fun, like if we were just, students making our own student game.
Yep.
So they have been a part of Dying Light history, and kind of the DNA of the Dying Light, and I'm sure they will also be part of Dying Light DNA moving forward.
Awesome. Awesome. That's really cool. I didn't know that there's just like you guys just take a day and it's like, hey, let's go have fun, go in the
Yeah.
world and make some Easter egg. That's dope. I like that. I like that. All right. And then just kind of, obviously 10-year anniversary of the franchise, phenomenal way to celebrate. The Beast is a beast. It was very, 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 very good game. Obviously now we got the next 10 years, right? We're doing this at a decade at a time, right? So you got the next 10 years. You've already alluded to carrying things forward to whatever's next. So my question is, right now, do you is what's next already known 100% and being worked on, or are you still figuring out exactly what's next? Like, where are you guys
I would say it's in
in that?
between. Like we have a lot of ideas, and some of them are quite advanced. I would say, well, maybe not quite. They are at some level of already being made to some extent, like prototypes, ideation, etc. So we kind of know, but we also didn't lock the plans yet. Uh,
Mm,
but I think we'll choose out of a number of options that we have on the table. And I think that's the most I can tell. Of course, we need to think about the future. Like, we are a big company, independent studio, so we need to think about, the continuity of us doing what we do. So there's no time to waste. I would say no time to wait for the star from the sky. We have to start working on something, and we have already started something.
nice.
If you kind of, would force me at a gunpoint to tell you what's the next Dying Light, I would not be able to tell you, because we at least have kind of two ideas, two directions, and I'm not sure which one will choose to be the first to go. But yes, things are
Mm,
happening. We are thinking about the future. We have a lot of plans for that. Very nice plans. Some of them very surprising. So as soon as we
mm.
are ready, we'll definitely start spilling the beans.
I like how you said which way, which means you have like one, two ideas that you're gonna do. It's just which one you're gonna pull the trigger on first. I love that. That's exciting to me for the idea of the future. Very cool. And when we did Summer Games Fest, Jacob did mention that one of the other reasons that you guys didn't put a 3 on it was because you guys would consider a 3 to be a departure, something big and not necessarily 100% in the same line of what's been going on. So listen, I'm very, very excited for that future. Again, you guys delivered in a meaningful way. And do you guys have, I feel like I'm blanking on it, but do you guys have like, did you guys publish something like of anything else that you're doing? Like, is the beast still part of the plan for a while of things that you're doing as well for it, or are we done with the beast and we're moving on?
No, no, no. So we have about a week or 2 weeks ago, we have published a roadmap for the 11 weeks roadmap, as we call it. So this is basically a roadmap
Nice.
that covers the time till the end of this year, like very early next year. So we plan to add a number of things that are focused on end game mostly. So it's new game plus, is the new difficulty level, the
Ooh,
nightmare
nice.
difficulty. It's also the legend levels, which is a end game progression system that players know from Dying Light 1 and Dying Light 2. And we are also adding a number of new things to the game, small and big things, quality of life improvements, but also new, no, new ways to be brutal. So, for example, there will be new weapon finishers. that players actually will be able to see very, very soon, because
Mm,
it will happen this week.
nice.
A number of small and big things that players can expect by the end of this year, and then we are working on something bigger to be kind of announced for next year. So please stay tuned.
Excited. Listen, more Dying Light, the Beast is a good thing. Again, I'm still playing it, which I don't do often. I gotta tell you, like, there's not many games that after I wrap on them that I keep going. And the Beast is one of them. I definitely still am playing. So, kudos to you guys. You guys crushed it. Thank you so much, Timon, for spending a chunky time with us, man. This has been phenomenal. Thank you again. And any last words you want to leave with the audience before we get
So,
out?
so, so to you, Simani, and basically everyone who watches this and listens to this, thank you for supporting us. We are really putting, I think you can hear that when talking to me, other developers from Techland. We are putting a lot of love, passion, and also hard work into our games. Those are our babies. We love them, and we would love to the whole world to kind of appreciate them for what they are. I think we are doing quite a lot of things which are quite unique, quite new, quite fresh. Something that you cannot get, some experiences that you cannot get in any other games. So, if you are a fan of Dying Light, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being part of the community of the family. If you are new to the franchise, if you hear about it for the first time, please give it a try, because that's quite a unique combination of various gameplay mechanics, something that you cannot find anywhere else in gaming. So hopefully you will enjoy that. And then I will be able to say thank you for supporting us as well in the future.
Awesome, awesome. All right, guys. Well, with that, we thank y'all for watching. We appreciate you. And until next time, you're intruding.